welcome to our information session to talk about check-in and move-in for the fall 2024 semester here at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Daytona Beaches campus. We're excited to have you with us this afternoon to talk about one of our favorite times of the year as we get to welcome our brand new Eagles to their nest. My name is Jeremy Bowersox. I serve the Daytona Beach campus as the Director of Housing Operations and Off-Campus Life. I've been working at Embry-Riddle for about 8 years now. I'm going to let my co-presenter introduce herself, and then we'll get started with some great information about preparing you to be ready to check in and move in to Embry-Riddle.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Rosati. I am our Director for Student Leadership and Orientation here at Embry-Riddle, and I have been here for almost 5 years, and we are very excited that you are joining us tonight to learn a little bit more about the process and what to expect during orientation week, and just to get some of those questions answered with us as well.
Perfect. So just to give you a brief agenda about what we're going to talk about is I'm going to kick us off today talking about the move-in process. From the moment you get onto campus to getting into the residence hall space if you're a residential student on our campus. Once we talk about that, I'm going to pass it off to Kristen to talk about our orientation week and all the exciting events that we have planned for students and families. And then towards the end, we're going to go ahead and do some questions and answers. And so we'll be able to see the chat, be able to see some of your questions and hopefully answer some of them before you all get here. The cool thing about Kristen and I is we are probably the campus's go-to folks for check-in and orientation. We've been doing this together for quite some time, and so we've got a wealth of knowledge to prepare you to join us shortly. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that check-in process. And so all of our students, whether you live on campus or not, are going to have to go through a check-in process. It's kind of like your boarding pass to the university, so to speak. The check-in sign-up is available on the orientation website already. If you have not signed up for a check-in time after this call, or after this presentation rather, we would direct you to that website to sign up for those check-in times. Check-in for our first-year students occur on Sunday, August 18th and Monday, August 19th. And so we're a little less than a month away from that check-in period. You'll notice on the check-in site that there are 2 types of check-in that you can choose between. In the morning between around 8 to 9 to about 1 p.m. is what we call our drive-through check-in process, and that occurs at the ICI Center. For our drive-through check-in process, you're going to follow the directions and signage at our ICI complex, which is our athletics complex on campus, and kind of go through a drive-through, what we would call kind of Chick-fil-A style, where you will never leave your car. You will check in for the university, get your housing keys, your student ID if applicable, and then drive on off into your residence hall space to get moved in. We do that from until about 1 p.m. in the afternoon. For those of you that don't know or are not familiar with Florida, usually around this time of year, sometime between 2 and 4 to 5 p.m., we get some afternoon thunderstorms. It also gets incredibly hot in the afternoon. And so that's why we stop that process at 1 p.m. However, at 2 p.m., we start our second round of check-in at the Student Union. It is exactly the same. You will all get your stuff in the same place. The only difference is instead of doing it as a drive-through and not leaving your cars, you'll come inside the Union into the event center. There'll be plenty of staff to direct you before going over to your residence hall check-in. Those are the only two differences between, that is the only difference between those 2 types of check-in. The one important piece that we will ask you to make sure that you or your student have done beforehand, which will make your check-in process so much easier. This would be my number 1 tip for the night, is make sure you have uploaded your Eagle card photo well before that process. So I would say probably by the end of next week would be a good time to make sure that Eagle card photo is updated. Your Eagle card is your student ID card. It's kind of your key to the world of Embry-Riddle. You will need it for access to your residence hall building. You'll need it to use your meal plan. You'll need it to check in for all the amazing events on campus. And so you absolutely need that. If you do not do that ahead of time, you will have to add an additional stop to your check-in process to go get that card taken care of. So please, please, please get that done next week so we can make sure that everything is ready to go in a nice, clean packet for you when you arrive to campus. Tip number 2 is we ask that you please adhere to those check-in times. We set them up in a way that we can handle the most amount of people in a certain amount of time. So if people start coming outside of those times, it really tends to clog up the traffic in the area. So please stick to those times. But that's pretty much it. Once you do that, you head over to your residence hall space if you're an on-campus student and start the move-in process. We'll talk a little bit more about some tips and tricks for that move-in process, and we can answer those questions after Kristen goes over the schedule. But that's it, plain and simple, and the easiest way to check into Embry-Riddle.
Awesome. And before we jump into schedule, I just wanted to discuss meal plans because I know that that is a $1 million question. And so meal plans start on Wednesday, August 21st for any incoming student. However, there is an orientation meal plan that each student will get. And so that will be loaded onto their Eagle card. So it's really important to make sure that you submit that picture ahead of time so you can get your Eagle card the first day you move in. So you will be given, each incoming student will get 6 meals loaded onto their Eagle card that they can use when they move in from that Sunday to that Tuesday. So they can use that however they would like. You can use it all in all 6 in one day or spread them out between those 3 days. You can also use them for guests if you have any guests with you as well. So you are given 6 and you can use them how you would like. And so we will go ahead and jump in now to our schedule that we will go through. So give me one second. I believe you should be able to see this now at this point. Awesome. So our first, as Jeremy mentioned, is our early check-in. So Sunday is our early check-in, 8 to 1 p.m. As Jeremy mentioned, is our drive-through check-in process with 2 to 5 p.m. over in the event center to make sure that if there's any summer weather with rain, we are good to go. Eagle card will be available on Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So for some reason, if you are not able to upload your picture ahead of time and you need to get your Eagle card, you can do so from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on that Sunday. From 1 to 4, we will have our campus tours and our welcome day treats available. So if you have not seen our campus yet, the orientation team is ready to go ahead and give you a tour to see some different landmarks and eateries and all the good stuff that is around campus. That evening, we do have two social options for students. And so we have Zumba that's offered from 7 to 8 p.m. And then 7:30 to 9:30 is our O-team backyard social. So our O-team is our orientation team. And so there's some kettle corn, some lemonade, some lawn games, all of that good stuff, some music out there just for students to kind of come out from their residence halls once hopefully you've settled a little bit and get to know one another. So on Monday, August 19th is going to be our second day of check-in and move-in. So if you are moving on this day, same idea. 8 to 1 is our drive-through option and 2 to 5 is our event center option. There are also pre-orientation programs that do take place on the Sunday and Monday. That should have been already communicated with you if you are a part of that pre-orientation program. So that would be any of our ROTC branches, or if you are a part of the Discover Scholars program, that should also have been already communicated with you. And then on that Monday, Eagle card again is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Ernie Central, so they will be open. This is the student financial aid, student financial services, registrar's office, any of those questions that you might have. They will be available on the 3rd floor of our student union from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our flight program onboarding, so if you are a flight student, you should have already received communication from the flight program to schedule an appointment for your onboarding, but that will be taking place by appointment only Monday through Friday. Following that will be our campus tours and welcome day treats once again from 1 to 4 p.m. After that, we have a living on campus session that is hosted by our Housing and Res Life folks. So this one is for families, and it's just to meet the Housing and Res Life team and learn a little bit more about what goes into living on campus for students. From 5 to 8:30 p.m., students will have their residence hall community meetings with their resident assistants, and these are mandatory events just to learn a little bit more about the community guidelines and what it means to live on campus. From 7 to 8 p.m., we will have Glow Yoga. And then our other evening activity from 8 to 9:30 is our ice cream social and our game night. So we play bingo in the student union and have a whole ton of ice cream that you can enjoy, all different varieties of ice cream that you can enjoy. So definitely come out and join the orientation team for that experience. Moving forward to our very first official day of orientation is going to be Tuesday, August 20th. So we kick off our orientation at 9 a.m. over in our ICI Center, which is where that drive-through check-in process is. It's across the street from the main part of campus. And we have our welcome program and our featured speaker. This is one option that is live streamed. So if there are any parents or families that are unable to either stay later on in the week for these sessions or are unable to travel for these sessions, we do encourage you to go ahead and log on to that Zoom and take part so that you can see what your students' experience is too. There is a math placement exam that is held by the math department as well that day. That takes place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday. We do our annual class photo with our students, which is a really cool experience over on the soccer field. And so that's a cool commemorative moment from 10:30 to 11. Parents and families, you would stay behind in the ICI Center from 10:30 to 11:45 to take part in a parent and family orientation where you will hear from student affairs leadership as well as various campus partners. This is also an opportunity where it is live streamed for those that are not able to attend in person. Our students will head to their Eagle to Eagle sessions with our orientation team, where they'll learn a little bit more about campus resources and engaging with some fellow students. We will then have lunch. So again, this is where those meal plans could be used, those 6 meal plans, since meal plans do not start till the day after this. So any of our campus restaurants are open for you. We have Boundless that will be open. That is an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then we also have the Union, the options in the Union. And Chick-fil-A will actually have what we call a fast line. So if you are interested in kind of being a little bit quicker with your meal, Chick-fil-A will have that option as well, that will take place right in front of the actual Chick-fil-A that we have on campus in our Union. From 1 to 4 p.m. is our campus resource fair. So this is a great opportunity for you to engage with other departments on our campus and learn what resources they have. You will also, there's some cool giveaway prizes that you can win at that campus resource fair for engaging with folks. From 1:30 to 5 is going to be our academic program briefing. So these are all split up depending on which program, which academic program you are part of. So please feel free to look through this list. You will get this in person when you check in to make sure you know what time your briefing will be with your faculty member. There is, for our student athletes, there's a student athlete orientation at 5:30 to 6:30. And then we have an outdoor show, an outdoor movie of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back at 8:30 p.m. out on the Connolly Quad, that's hosted by our Touch and Go student programming board. On Wednesday, we have what we call our Life at Riddle session. So there you're going to see here listed 4 different sessions and for 4 different timeframes, and you get to pick and choose what you want to go to. So each session there are a list of different offerings. They are open to both parents, families, and students. So whatever you are interested in, you can go together, you can separate, but whatever you are interested in, you are able to go to. So there's a 9:30 to 10:30 session, and you will see everything listed there for your options. There is also an equivalency exam for Calc 1 taking place this day, and that needs to be submitted to Ernie Central prior to August 20th. You'll see here your Life at Riddle session 2 with all of the options. Your Life at Riddle session 3 with all of those options as well that are available. And then right down here, you'll see session 4. We do offer a parent lounge from 1 to 3 p.m. So for any parents, this is a great opportunity for you to come to the second floor of the Student Union to meet the Parents Association, meet some staff members as well that are here to help support parents, and just to meet parents as well and start networking. And we do offer coffee and tea service during that as well. In that late afternoon, we have our convocation ceremony. So that is at 3:45 to 4:30 and is open to both students and families. And again, this is an additional option that is live streamed for anyone that can't be there physically. And then we follow with our family farewell social, which is a cool opportunity. So everybody walks back over to the Student Union. We have some refreshments and some hors d'oeuvres, and it's based on your college. So we have different locations based on which college you are a part of. Your college dean will be there. Some of the faculty from your college will be there. So it's a great opportunity just to meet some of the faculty that you're going to be experiencing and being in the classrooms with the next 4 years. That evening, we have 2 socials. We have our puzzles and games from 8 to 11 and our Glowcade. So our puzzles and game is a little bit of a quieter evening where you can go and grab some puzzles, play some card games with some folks. And then Glowcade is silent disco, mini golf, glow cotton candy. It's a much more of a larger scale event over in the New Res courtyard where the housing and residence life is. On Thursday, we kick off the day with our student organization showcase. So this is a great opportunity to come out and to meet with all the clubs and orgs that are on our campus and to learn a little bit more about how to get involved with them. When you start here, you'll see another equivalency exam piece. We have our second Eagle to Eagle session with our orientation team where students will learn a little bit more about what it means to get involved on campus, what it looks like to have an internship, the benefits of all of those things, and how to take advantage of those opportunities. They will also then have lunch with their orientation group as well. If you are an international student, there is a mandatory session for international students and a welcome lunch that takes place this day. Advising and registration, you'll see a link here on this schedule that's online. And so this event is not required for all students. It's simply for students that still need to meet with an academic advisor. They still need to register for a class perhaps, or they want to shift around their schedule. Then they would go ahead and go through that link to make sure that they schedule an appointment within that 2 to 4 p.m. timeframe. At 2:30 to 3:30, we have our Playfair event. So this is basically a massive icebreaker. It's a really fun, high energy environment for students to get to know one another and to build connections with one another. So that is taking place. Our honors program orientation is followed by our exchange student orientation. So if you are part of either of those programs, you would go to those orientations. At 3:30 is our Summer Splash, which is our pool party and our fitness center pool, which is beautiful here on campus. We offer some Italian ice, some music, lawn games, swimming, all of that good stuff. It's a really good environment. At 4, we have our International Student Social Meet and Greet. So again, if you are an international student, this is a great opportunity to meet the International Student Organization as well as their ambassadors. At 5:30 is our residence hall socials. So that is over in the residence halls for you to meet fellow residents as well as the residence hall staff. At 7 p.m. is our Epic Magic Tour. So this is hosted by Touch and Go. It's an awesome magician show that is over here in our student union. Really cool opportunity that I recommend that you take advantage of. And then at 8 p.m. is our esports tournament. So if you are into gaming and part of esports, the Discord link is here for you to be able to join our esports club on campus in this opportunity. Friday, we kick off with our Flightline Assimilation Program. So if you are a flight student, this would be a session that is required for you to just learn a little bit more about the flight process and the Flightline operations. We also have from 9:30 to 12:30 is Sunfest. This is an event hosted by our Student Government Association where you can interact with them a little bit more, learn how they're a resource to you as a student, but also enjoy some free food and some inflatables and giveaways. We have our equivalency exam again for Calc 2. We have Welcoming the Women of ERAU. So this is a really cool opportunity for our female identifying students to come out and meet fellow students, faculty, staff, and even some of our alumni and start building that community of women on our campus. From 3 to 5 p.m. is our veteran student orientation. And so this is open to anybody that is using VA education benefits as well. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about what that looks like and get any questions that you have answered. From 4 to 5 is our graduate student orientation for any graduate students. And then from 5 to 7 p.m., we have a Skyline Social for our transfer, veteran, and graduate students. So if you are of those populations, this is an awesome opportunity for you to come and network with other students that are a part of those populations while enjoying some live music and some free food and drink. You will also see listed on here, both on Friday and on Sunday, that there are some Center for Faith and Spirituality welcomes. So you are more than welcome to take part in those. And then 7 p.m. on Friday evening is our Friday Night Laugh. So it's a comedy show with 2 comedians that are listed there as well, hosted by Touch and Go, which is our productions company on campus, our productions student organization. On Saturday, we have our Beach Bash. And so from 1 to 5 p.m., we actually have rotational buses leave our campus over by the residence halls and head on down to Daytona Beach. So we are at Sunsplash Park is where the event is taking place. And so we bus students to and from the beach. And down there we have obviously the beach, but we have a free Italian ice, water, games, all that good stuff. So we invite students to come out for however long they would like to and enjoy that environment and see what Daytona has to offer. That evening, we have our annual Top Gun Maverick movie showing. And so it is shown on a massive giant screen here in the Union. So it goes from the first floor all the way up to the second floor. And it's a really cool experience to watch the movie and follow that aviation theme of our university. And then lastly, so Sunday is not a formal part of orientation, but we do list some of the programs that are taking place on Sunday in case you are interested in attending any of those. So our housing and residence life staff are hosting a session called Campus Living 101, and they have 2 options on here for timeframes that you might be interested in attending. This is for students. And then there are those religious education, those religious pieces of the open house and all of that stuff on here as well that you can take part in. And that is our fall 2024 orientation schedule.
Awesome. So as you can see, there's a lot of really cool events planned to welcome you and your Eagles to our campus in this less than three and a half
Yeah.
short weeks. Can't
Yeah,
believe
almost there.
where did this summer go? But yeah, so at this point, we would be happy to start answering some Q&A questions. If you want to drop them in the chat, we ask that you please make sure to send them to everyone in the chat. If you send it to the host or panelists, We won't actually see it. So we'll try to answer any questions. We just ask you to keep in mind that we're not going to answer specific questions to a very specific student. If there's like specific needs that you need to answer, we'll give you some information towards the end about who to email for those things. We're going to focus on more general type of questions that we think would be best for the larger audience.
All right. And we'll go through little by little. So just give us a second as we process through them all. I know that there's a question on here about honors programs, extra events. So there is that honors orientation that's taking place. But aside from that, every student is welcome. As same with graduate students. If we have any graduate students that are watching, you are welcome to attend any of our orientation events as well and encouraged to do so. No.
Yeah, so there's a question about if the mail center will be open on Sunday, 8/18. I believe that they will be open for limited hours. They won't be open the whole day, but there will be the opportunity to pick up some stuff from the mail center that day.
So I know there was a question on getting a copy of this itinerary. So the schedule is listed on our orientation website. I do think at the moment I checked it a couple hours ago, and for some reason it is not working. So please give us until the end of this week, and I will get that back up and working. But the schedule that is the most live edited option for our schedule. So just keep updating. You'll get a printed copy though when you do come to campus. So I would obviously when you come to campus, make sure that you hold on to that. We also have a parent and family schedule that parents and families will receive when they come to campus. Eagle
So,
card.
question about where you upload your photo for your Eagle card. There should be, once you access, you have your credentials to access Ernie, you should be able to go to the Eagle Card Office Ernie page, and that should link it to you where to upload that photo to it on the Eagle Card Ernie page.
If you are planning on taking a car to campus for the school year, where do you put it on move-in day? So on move-in day, you can park in any legal spot that is on campus. So obviously as close as you can get. I don't know if you have any personal recommendations of lots that you would like to recommend.
No, not
Yeah.
particularly. Parking is going to be at a premium, so just the closest legal spot you can get
Mhm.
to.
And any changes to your meal plan. So you're going to go ahead and email the Sodexo. You don't know their email off the top of your head, do you?
I think I know it, but I don't want to get it wrong on this chat.
Yes.
But it's a generic email on the dining services website. It probably is something that starts with DB
Mhm.
Sodexo is my guess, but I would go to the dining website. They're pretty responsive. It is their busy season, so give them about 3 to 5 days to respond to any email inquiries that are coming in right now.
Sorry, everyone. It just bumped me. I think there was a question on how do we manage the items that we bring to our dorms on the date that we move in?
Yeah, so essentially, you should bring everything with you that you're going to need to get things into the hall. So if you feel like you're going to need some type of cart or assistance or something like that, you should bring that with you. We have a very, 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 very limited number of carts that will be checked out. But I want to put into perspective that over the course of 2 days, about 2,000 people are going to move in, and we probably have about 100 carts that get loaned out. So if you think you're going to need it, you should bring it with you to campus.
I see that there's a question on the recording of this Zoom, so and when where it would be available and when. So it is being recorded. We will do our best to have it up in a week or two on the orientation website. So just check back on that orientation website for that piece of it. There's also a question on if not all 6 of the free meals are used, will they transfer? They will not. So after that Tuesday evening, I think probably around 11:55 p.m., they do get wiped from that account. So if you do not use them, they will go away on that piece. There's a question on accessing the orientation website for move-in. If for some reason you're running into an issue with the move-in link, just go ahead and email us, and I will drop our email at the end, but it's dborient@erau.edu. So go ahead and send us an email, and we can send you over the live link if for some reason that campus groups is not working for you. Those exams, so there's a question about, I believe probably those equivalency exams and such. So those will be something if your advisor has shared a little bit more, if you're looking for that equivalency exam, then you would go ahead and make sure that you submit those forms. They are for incoming students, but only if you need it. So it's not for every student. There's a question on parents departing Wednesday and Thursday. And students staying. So our programming for parents and families is going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. So our parent orientation is Tuesday, Wednesday. Students orientation is going to be Tuesday through Saturday. So after that Wednesday, everything is student focused for our orientation program. Keeps pulling me down. Thank you for those of you that have shared, but I know the link is having a little bit of issues. We chatted about that.
If you have questions about specific like academic tracks or things like that, we recommend if you don't know who your advisor is, you can probably check that in Ernie or Campus Solutions, or just find the advising website and email the general advising office. They're going to be able to give you the best answer about what information is available for your specific track.
There's a question on the meal plans, the 14 meal plan, does it let you eat anywhere? Yes, you can eat anywhere that meal plans, and most of our dining facilities will have what is included at each of those locations within a meal plan. So even Starbucks, you can use your meal plans at, and they will share with you what you can purchase at Starbucks for that meal plan.
There's a question about are all fabric drawers allowed at ERU residence halls? And I'm assuming that's talking about kind of like those 3-stack fabric type drawers that are more like storage drawers. Yes, you can bring those. We encourage everyone to kind of take a look at the ERU housing community standards, which you can find by just Google searching ERU housing community standards to give you a good list of what you can and can't bring. Please keep in mind that furniture cannot be removed from the room, so nothing can be taken out of your space.
So there was a question on here about how will orientation be different if you're not staying in a residence hall? So it is the same orientation. I definitely encourage you to still come to campus, take part in everything. Obviously, I understand depending on how far your commute is. Hopefully you're local, that some of those evening activities might be a little bit later, but I still encourage you to still come to everything because it's a great opportunity. Those evening socials are an awesome opportunity to meet other students, to start making those bonds. I know there's a question on parking pass information. So yes, hopefully it should be sent out soon. It usually comes out a little bit closer to orientation. So within the next couple of weeks, there should be information sent out from campus safety regarding parking permits.
There's a question about it, what we provide for information about hurricanes and hurricane evacuations. So all residents on campus, off campus, staff, faculty, students are encouraged to kind of create your own hurricane kit. We recommend just kind of searching the Red Cross and seeing what they recommend. So we're not going to provide those kits for every student. For information about hurricanes, it's kind of hard to give general information because every storm is a little bit different and every hurricane season is a little bit different. But the university does operate off of a very robust hurricane and severe weather plan for when those storms do come into our area, and the communication comes out pretty quickly. But we do recommend folks, if you're not from the area, or even if you are from the area, to at least start thinking about what your hurricane plan is should campus close for a storm this fall or spring.
What is the easiest way to communicate with your future roommates?
Yeah, so you're going to just log into your housing portal. If you go to daytona.housing.eru.edu, it should take you, and you click Daytona Beach, it'll take you to your login credentials for the Daytona Housing platform. And it'll have your assignment and it'll show who your roommates are and their email addresses so you can communicate with them.
This is online.
Yeah, so for your address for mail, everybody's address is exactly the same except for your number. And so at the moment, if you're trying to mail something right now, because I do not believe they've assigned numbers just yet to new students, excuse me, not the email address, the mailing address for our campus is 1 Aerospace Boulevard. If you don't have your number, you would then the next line put new student, then Daytona Beach, Florida, 32114. Once you get assigned that number, you will then put that number in instead of new student.
There's a question on here for any personal general advice for incoming students. I love that question. My personal advice, orientation week, as you can see, there's a lot of events going on, which can be a little overwhelming, but I encourage you to take advantage of the opportunities that are there to get to know other students, because it'll make your week so much more enjoyable. You'll start to make friends and connections, and really enjoy your time that week. So I also encourage you to rely on your orientation team and your residence advisors. So those are going to be the first folks that you meet on this campus that are students. So ask them the questions that you have, get to know them, and lean on them that week when you have things that are going on, or any questions that you might have, or asking about events and what you enjoy, and they'll be able to help find your niche on campus. So definitely lean on those folks because they're awesome student leaders.
There's a question about supply lists that students are gonna need. University life is a little bit different than kind of the K through 12 life, where needs are gonna be depending on, what courses you're in, what degree program you're on, and individual professors you have. And so I think things that general supplies that you would need, like maybe some notebooks if you're still a pen and paper kind of person, pens, pencils, laptop, things like that. But I would wait to get more specific things until you get your syllabus from your professor, who will outline exactly what supplies you need. Because there may be classes where you actually just don't need any additional supplies. You just show up and do the learning that way.
Lofted bits.
So there was a pre-request form that was sent out in housing assignment confirmation emails. So you can either go back to that email and fill out the form that talks about the different options for the changing the bed heights. The other option is there are staff on hand during move-in to assist with the changing of those beds, because those are just pre-requests. They're not guaranteed to get through all of them. Last year, I think 1,500 students requested something different about their beds, so it's almost impossible to get through all 1,500 before move-in day, but staff is on hand and pretty quickly addresses those work orders on move-in day.
If they get a full week's worth.
There's a question about when the meal plans start on Wednesday, do you get a full week's worth? We aren't 100% sure. I want to say it's prorated for that first week. I think it is, but that'll be a great question to ask any of the dining folks you see when you get to campus.
There's a question on, can I pick up my Eagle card before I move in, before my move-in time? As long as the office is open, yes. So if you show up during normal business hours, which for us at the moment, I believe Eagle card is open at 8 a.m. It might be 9 a.m. To 5 p.m. You can go ahead and grab that Eagle card. Yes.
What is the best way to ship items to campus? And so you have two different options if you want to ship things to campus before move-in, if that's what we're talking about, and I'll cover once after as well. So the first option is we offer a service through our preferred shipping and storage vendor called Storage Scholars. You ship everything to their warehouse, and then it's delivered directly to the residence hall room before you get there. That option is a nominal fee that they can go over on our website. It's linked on the housing website if you're interested in that. The other option is you can ship it to the mailroom directly using that new student physical address that I gave you. Please keep in mind that the mail center is in the parking garage, which is on the other side of campus from the residence halls. And so it is a little bit of a walk to get there.
Triple residency rooms, what's the layout?
Question about triple residency rooms. It depends on what building you're talking about. If you're talking about an Adams Wood triple, the beds don't really fit without one of the sets being bunked. So one of the sets usually is bunked. Sometimes the students do get a little creative, but we find that the best utilization of space is that second set bunked.
Evacuation for some are other than their evacuation place listed.
So there's a question about hurricane evacuations. And so there's a lot of pieces about hurricanes that are very specific to the storm. And so every student in their housing application that lives on campus is required to either select that they are going to evacuate somewhere or go to a local shelter. The reason why I say it's very specific is if you live in South Florida and the hurricane is hitting South Florida, you're most likely not going to evacuate to South Florida. And so what happens is a lot of our students end up evacuating together because somebody lives in Georgia and 4 of them will go to Georgia together. We do work really hard to try to give as much advance notice as we can. But as a last resort, if the campus closes and you have to evacuate to a local shelter, our campus safety department handles kind of the trying to keep all of our students at the same county shelter, as well as providing some of our student security officers to go with those students so they have an Embry-Riddle contact while they are in that shelter.
Do you know where the nearest shelter is?
I do not know where the nearest shelter is off the top of my head because the shelters change every hurricane season and sometimes every storm because a lot of them are in schools.
I know there's a couple questions in here about specific scholarships or even loans. And so that is information I would check in with Ernie Central, Student Financial Services, just to make sure that you're getting the proper information in terms of what can be used for each of those loans, or how your scholarship is paid out. So unfortunately, that's not specific information that we have to be able to provide.
The question about when can you start sending things to the mailroom? You can start now. The mailroom is ready to start accepting packages for new student. So you can start doing that now, especially because move-in is within about 3 weeks.
There's a question about what is the difference between the morning drive-through and the afternoon student union move-in times. They are the exact same process. It's just a matter of one is a drive-through process and one you're walking through that process. But you're going to be serviced the exact same. You're going to get your orientation materials. You're going to get your housing key and your Eagle card as long as you go ahead and make sure that you upload that ahead of time. So you're going to get the same materials at both. We move inside to that student union in the afternoon because in Florida, in the afternoon in August, it is that time of year where rainstorms start to happen. So we make sure that we are inside during that so that we can continue that process going for us. I know there's also a question on here about medical staff on campus. So yes, we do have health services. And so you can look up their resources through the Ernie site that you should have access to learn a little bit more. But we do have a doctor, we have nurses that are on campus. We also have our emergency response team, and they are funded and operated through our Student Government Association as well. It's a service here on campus, and they are 24/7, 356 days a year. So in anytime anything happens, you can call what we call ERT, our emergency response team, and they will have a student come out to you and help. And they are, the majority of them are actual certified and licensed EMTs as well. And so many of them during their summer jobs actually work on ambulances back home, or in the local surrounding area as well. So they're a great resource.
There's a question about if there's 2 students assigned to a triple room, does the second or the third is there still a third bed? Again, it depends on the building assignment. If you are assigned an Adams Wood triple, that is just the permanent assignment for that space. So if there's only 2 students in the room, there will be a third bed, as that third bed can be assigned at any time. If you were assigned a temporary Doolittle triple, once that building has been, what we would like to call de-tripled, as that third set of furniture would be removed.
So there's a question on here about ROTC orientation on the 18th and it overlapping with other orientation and move-in. Yes, it does overlap, but the events that are taking place on that Sunday and Monday, I should say, are events that are just there to make sure that you're getting some free stuff, so some free snacks and things like that, or campus tours. So your programming will overlap a little bit depending on which ROTC program that you are a part of too. So some of them start later. I know Air Force, I believe, is on the Monday and not the Sunday. So it kind of just depends which program that you are a part of as well. I know there's a question on here about placement tests with AP credits and ALEX. I believe if you have AP credits, you should be fine without taking the ALEX, but that's an advisor question. So you should have been contacted at this point by your undergraduate advisor. So I would make sure that you communicate with them just to make sure that you are all set. Another question about Eagle Card before being able to get it before orientation. Yes, if you are in the area and you happen to be on campus during office hours, then absolutely.
There's a question, are you able to keep your stuff in the residence hall between semesters? Yes, as long as you're still assigned for that fall and then that spring semester, you don't move out, you keep your stuff there over the break periods. That also includes fall break, Thanksgiving break, spring break, any type of break period from the university.
There's a question both on here about work study as well as campus jobs. And so we do have a student employment office and department on our campus. It's on the third floor of our student union. So if you are interested in any campus jobs as well as work study specific jobs, you can go ahead and visit that department and they will have all of that information for you.
Question about what clothing storage is available in residence hall 2. First, I direct everyone, if you want to go to each residence hall's page on our website, it's going to have a little bit of a diagram that kind of shows you what's available. So Residence Hall 2 specifically has a small closet space where you can hang clothing, as well as a set of drawers for each resident. There's a question about, can you bring scooters into the residence halls? And I'm going to defer that question as there's an ongoing conversation on campus about scooters at the moment. So I cannot give a yes or no answer to that right now. However, I will say currently there is no policy against it. If there is a change to that policy, it will be communicated via your ERU email address.
Their first semester parents weekend, or is there own? So there is a family weekend. So the question was, is there first semester parents weekend or is there only orientation? So orientation is separate from our parent and family weekend. However, family weekend is our homecoming weekend this year. And it does take place in the fall semester. I cannot remember the date off the top of my head, so I don't want to share the wrong date, but I believe that it is the last weekend in October. It will be listed in your schedule. So when your student gets their schedule, on the very last page, it will have a flyer with upcoming dates, and parent and family weekend is listed in there. Somebody else put November 1st. So perfect. I know it's right after Halloween, but that will be available. And that more information regarding family weekend should be coming out shortly once they start confirming that schedule.
There's a question, if you live in the area, can you come look at the residence hall rooms? The only way you can do that is if you take a campus tour with our admissions folks. And currently the only residence hall we are touring right now is Adams and Wood Hall. Over the summer, while we aren't as busy from a student perspective, the campus is alive with getting everything ready for the fall. And so unfortunately, the rest of our residence halls are not available for touring until move-in starts.
There's a question here about, are parents required to come to orientation? No, you are not required to come to orientation. It is solely if you find it useful and you would like to be here. Absolutely. We do again have those live stream options so that if you are not able to come, but would like to still participate in some of those options, we do have that available as well. There's also a question about picking up Eagle Card on Saturday, August 17th. No, they will be closed. So they are only open on that Sunday because we have move in and check in that day. So they follow your typical Monday through Friday schedule. But they will be opening that Sunday to make sure that they service students.
So a question about students who applied to change rooms still being moved. If you're talking about like a wait list, the wait list is still active. If a space opens up, we go to the next person on that wait list. However, as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the year, that wait list tends to not move as much anymore.
I do also want to mention, I don't think we mentioned it before. I know there are 2 days for check-in and move-in. When you go to that link to register, I am 90% sure that the Sunday move-in is full at this point. So August 18th, I'm pretty sure is full. So if you do not see that listed as an option, there might have been 1 or 2 spots that have opened. So make sure you check that soon. But Monday, there are plenty of spots open for both options, both the morning drive-through check-in or the afternoon. So please go ahead and take a look at that and prioritize that when you can.
Couple things to think about as we get closer to move in, especially those of you who aren't from the state of Florida. A couple of things. August in Florida is hot and humid and gross. And so please prepare to drink a lot of water and stay hydrated. Every year we see some folks that struggle and need a little bit of medical attention because of lack of drinking water, because of all the excitement of everything going on. So please drink water. The other thing that we ask you is please do not bring any pets to move in. Animals outside of official service animals are not allowed in any of our buildings on campus. So if you're not bringing a service animal, please do not bring your pet. It's just going to be hot. It's a lot of motion. It's just not good. As a dog dad myself, Kristen is a dog parent as well. We love them and we love the animals, but please, the move-in is not the time to bring them to campus.
Fun fact, it's my dog's birthday today. I told Jeremy earlier, but there's a question about when you will start to see information about classes from professors. So it's kind of dependent on the professor. Typically a couple days before, potentially you might see them reach out. Thank you to the person that said happy birthday to my dog. I appreciate it. But so a couple days before, you might start to see your professor go ahead and reach out with potentially a syllabus, all of that good stuff. So it's really dependent though on that professor and when they start that process.
Another question again about mailing addresses is when you get closer to campus, you will see in either your campus solutions, your mail, I want to say mailbox number, it's not really a box, your mail number. Until that point, you address all packages to student name, 1 Aerospace Boulevard, new student, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32114. You can also find that address on the move-in guide on the housing website. And I'm pretty sure if you went to the mail center's website, it's probably there as well.
There's a question on here about coming at the time that you registered for, or just in general. So we do encourage that if you have registered for a specific time frame, which you should be doing, that you come during that time frame, because we do offer an allotted amount of spots, each of those half an hour. So we do half an hour shifts, as you'll see when you go to register, and that is to make sure that we can efficiently move you through that process with hopefully you not waiting for a long period of time. So we do ask that you honor that time frame that you do pick, and the date that you do pick as well. I know that there's a question, so we've had this with a couple students about them registering for move-in timeframe or check-in timeframe, but they haven't heard back. There could be a simple glitch in the system with an email address or something for some reason. If you would like to make sure that you have confirmed that time, we're going to ask that you email the DB Orient email, and I'll drop that in a second in here. Just email them, and so that is my student leadership team that monitors that email, that can make sure that you are registered. So it takes them a couple minutes. They can just make sure that your name is in there. And if it's not, they'll let you know, so that you can go ahead and make sure that your registration goes through. Everyone will receive, just as well, so that you know, probably about 3 days prior to your check-in and move-in timeframe, you will receive an email with a QR code in your emails for check-in and move-in. And so we ask that you bring that with you. It can be on your cellular device or anything. It's just easier for you to show us. We can scan it. It's a little bit smoother. If you do not have it, that is also completely okay. We can look you up by name. It just takes a little bit of an extra second. So when you do have that QR code, if you have it handy, it is very helpful for the process for you to bring that with you too.
There's a question about what is allowed and versus not allowed inside the residence halls. It's an extensive list of things that are versus not allowed. So I recommend everyone kind of head over to the housing website, look at the community standards as well as the move-in guide, and it's going to have a good list of appliances and items and things that are allowed versus things that are also not allowed on campus. A question about laundry service. While we don't have a laundry service on campus, each building has laundry facilities that are free to use for our students. Just depends on the building where those laundry facilities are in that individual building.
I know there was a question for those of you that are joining us a little bit after about the video and wanting to access. So we should have it up on our orientation website in a couple of weeks. Just give us a moment to be able to do that, and you can access it through that piece. I know there's also a question about a transfer student and touring Embry-Riddle on Monday. Yes, so all of our offices are open on Monday, so please feel free to stop in any office with any questions. Our office is on the second floor of the student leadership. So it is the student leadership suite on the second floor of the student union. So there are a lot of clubs, orgs, all of that good stuff in our office, but every office in the union's open. Housing is open as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to stop on by.
Somebody asked a question if you could bring a piano, a small electric piano. You could. The only place to store it would be in your room, so I would keep that in mind. There is a piano in the Center for Faith and Spirituality that is able to be used. I don't know the hours for that individual piano. There's also a piano in the Student Village atrium that can be used between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m., I believe.
I think there's a question on here about if you arrive early or a little bit late to your registered move-in slot, is that okay? Yes. So if you are coming like a half an hour or so or a little bit early, still come to us, obviously. And late as well, we can make sure that we accommodate you. We just ask that you be mindful of the time frame though that you are registering for, so that we can go ahead and make sure everybody gets through efficiently.
If you're looking for more information about any of the residence hall room types on each individual residence hall page, there is a floor plan that you can take a look at that kind of shows the layout of each individual space. If there's more of a specific question, I encourage you to reach out to the housing office. It might take us a little bit to get back if you're asking something ultra specific, but we can usually get back to you pretty quick. That email is daytona.housing@eru.edu.
I know there's a question on here saying that you didn't hear back, unfortunately, I suppose, from that DB Orient email. I encourage you to go ahead and email one more time. I know they're working through it. The emails have been coming in lately. So, and we have one student right now who is dedicating her time to monitoring that. So go ahead. I know that she's working through this past week's emails. So go ahead and send that again, and she can make sure that she gets an answer for you.
Does Doolittle have a kitchen? Doolittle does not have a kitchen. And then do common areas on each floor have kitchen appliances like an oven specifically? It's going to depend on the residence hall, the space you're in. For the general answer is no. Residence hall 2 does have a convection oven on each floor. But student village is getting has a community kitchen. It's also currently under renovation that should be opening right around move-in or a little bit after as the renovation is going to be completed.
There's a question on here about class schedule concerns. So your advisor would be a great contact for you when it comes to any class schedule concerns that you might have. Yes, that is the correct email, by the way.
Residence Hall 2, none of our first year residence hall spaces come with a mini fridge. No, they do not.
There's a question on if you register for a Monday morning check-in, can you still come and participate with events on Sunday if you're staying in a hotel in the area and go to the social? Yes, absolutely. You are more than welcome to come on that Sunday if you are in the area. ROTC and Discover Scholars, if you are a part of those programs, you have a very specific registration for move-in and check-in on that Sunday. So you should have received a link, especially if you are Army ROTC, you should have received a link from Army in order to register for your specific time frame. If you have not received that, just email that DB Orient email that was shared a little bit before, and we can send over that link to you. But you have a very specific time frame for your registration.
So at the moment, it looks like we have caught up with almost all the questions in the chat. We still have a few more minutes left. I think one just came in. But we're happy to answer any last few questions that we have. Every time somebody puts it, the chat moves a little bit, so it's hard to keep track. So there's a question, I mentioned mini fridge. Do Adams and Wood have fridges? No. So none of our first year halls provide mini fridges. You can either bring your own, provided that it's not larger than 4.5 cubic feet, or we do offer a rental program with information on our website about how you could rent one instead of bringing your own. It's completely up to you, whichever you prefer to do.
There's a question on discounts for hotels for families. So yes, depending on the week and weekend. So when you call hotels that are around campus, just ask if they have an Embry-Riddle discount. I believe there is also a list on our Ernie site that your student can look up for discounted hotels in the area. It is dependent though on what's going around town. So if there's a race, for example, those rates might not be applying. And I believe there might be a race at one point during that week. So just go ahead and call and ask for that Embry-Riddle rate.
There's a question about if you have questions about your housing assignment. If you have a specific type question, please email our office at daytona.housing@eru.edu. They're going to be best able to assist you with those questions. And are there elevators in the residence halls to move heavy objects, carts? Yes, every one of our residence halls does have elevator access. I will say the lines do tend to get long, so pack your patience for that day, but there are elevators in the halls.
Requesting a room residence hall transfer.
So if you're not happy with the room that you were assigned, in the third week of the semester is room swap week. Again, this is based on availability, but please watch out for advertisements about that so you can get on the list to do a room swap if a space is available.
Requesting fridge rental.
Fridge rental.
Like bringing TVs.
Okay, yeah. So to request a fridge rental, it's through our, we'll see if I can get the website up in a second. If not, but it's a company called College Products, and you're gonna look for Embry-Riddle Daytona as their site. Kristen's going to look it up right now for you and she'll drop it in the chat, but that's going to be the best place to get that taken care of. Also, if you get here and realize that you wanted to do that program, we'll have a representative from the company on site to assist on move-in days. Are there any rules against bringing TVs? There are not, so bring a TV, but please remember that this is a shared space with other people, and you also cannot mount a TV to the wall, so please do not mount a TV to the wall.
Do you know anything about flight punt? I would imagine the flight department would be your best.
Ironically enough, I just went through a training today with the flight department. I don't understand the flight fund piece of it, so I don't want to give wrong answers, but we recommend reaching out to someone in the flight department or asking that question during the flight orientations. We just don't want to give you wrong information and send you in the wrong direction.
You will see that there is a flight program briefing during that academic program briefings. That's for 2 hours over in the ICI Center, and that is a mandatory session for any flight students. And that is where a lot of that information in terms of the flight program, what to expect, all that good stuff will be shared.
Also, if you're looking for more information, the ERU Parents Association that Kristen was talking about is an excellent resources for some of those like parent type questions. They have an active Facebook page that you can look for that you can ask some of those questions about, and they have an active website on the Embry Riddle website. So that's another great information to kind of get that parent to parent information.
What can we put on the walls otherwise?
So you can put things on the walls if long as you don't damage the walls. And so we recommend things like painter's tape to hang things on the walls. Basically, a rule of thumb is if it's going to take the paint off or going to put a hole in the wall, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, so there's a question about just flight orientation info. So you will see on our orientation schedule, there are multiple sessions for flight students. So you have flight program onboarding, and that is by appointment only. So you should be contacted from the flight department in order to schedule that during that Monday through Friday. So make sure that you honor that appointment. That is very important to make sure that you can fly on time. There's a flight academic program briefing. So that will be listed, and that takes place on that Tuesday afternoon. I believe it's at 1:30. You will also have FLAP, which is our flight line assimilation program taking place. And I believe that that is all of the flight things off the top of my head. But check that schedule. Anytime you see flight, that would be something that you are making sure that you are available to go to when it comes to flight. Is there a curfew during orientation? There is not. Obviously, there's early morning, so just be mindful of the early morning programming that you might have. But there is not a curfew. So we do encourage some of our socials go to 11 p.m. at night, especially our Glowcade night. So we are over in the residence halls areas out in that courtyard until 11 p.m. So there is not a curfew. We do encourage you to get to know one another and to build those connections and come out to those socials, but also being mindful that you're getting enough sleep prior to the first week of school. When can you start using the fitness facilities? I don't know if it's the first day of class. If you are a registered student, I'm not 100% sure. I know that we have multiple instances where you'll be using or are available to use that fitness facility as a part of orientation week. For example, our summer splash, our pool party takes place at the fitness center. Glow yoga, Zumba, all of those things are at those fitness center facilities. So I do know that the facility will be open that week. So as long as you have your Eagle card, you should be good to go. So you're going to make sure that in order to get into the fitness center, you do need to have that Eagle card.
Yeah. Their hours will probably be a little bit different during orientation
Yeah.
week, but they'll start their regular hours on the first day of class. A question of is there a list of necessary items for a residence hall room posted somewhere? Not exactly necessary because every student's going to find different needs for what they want to bring. If you go to our move-in guide as well as our community standards, they'll give you kind of an idea of things you should or shouldn't bring. I would say like the only necessary type items are going to be things like your bedding, clothes, shower supplies, things like that. Everything else is going to be dependent on what you or your individual student wants.
There's a question on here about additional fees for the fitness center. So no, the fitness center is included. So you can access that fitness center as a part of being a student on this campus. They do have additional options though. So like if you are looking for a personal trainer, they do have that as an option. That would be an additional fee. They also have what's called the Outsiders program during summer terms. And so, and during the school year where they do some trips to potentially some local areas and some parks and things like that. And so those are an additional fee if you are looking to take part in those outsider programs. So it's just their additional things that they have going on, but to go and use their facility, that is all included, no additional fees.
All right, so we are reaching the 6:30 mark right about
We are,
now.
yes.
And so I wanted to thank you all for joining us. If there are still questions out there, that DB Orient's going to be from all things orientation and campus are going to be the best bet. As we said, it's monitored by our student leaders. And so they are really the true experts of Embry-Riddle's campus and will be able to help you as much as you can. For housing, like I said, Daytona.housing at eru.edu is going to be the best and the fastest response for any housing related questions. But we are very excited to see you all on campus very, very shortly. We are working very hard to get ready to welcome you all in just a few short weeks. So we are very excited. Hope you're getting excited too. And we are excited to welcome you home very
Yes.
soon.
Thank you all for joining, and we will see you very soon. Take care.